Welcome back, freshwater fishing novices, new viewers. The holidays upon us. I mean, tomorrow is Christmas Eve. This week, what are we talking about? One of the broadest categories of freshwater fish. One of the top fish we're going to target as novices, it's going to be a sunfish. But in the sunfish family, there's a lot of different fish. So this week, I'm going to talk about 3 of my favorite sunfish and how to identify them, where you can find them, what to eat, what lures you're going to use. And of course, real quick, I'll talk about gear. Stick with me. Let's talk about sunfish. So you might have heard the term sunfish before if you're just starting out fishing. That's a very broad term for a lot of fish. They all kind of look the same. There's slight differences. We're going to talk about the bluegill. One of my most favorite sunfish. I don't know. I think it's the coloring. It's the pumpkin seed. I love this fish a lot. The other sunfish that's one of my top favorites just because of coloring and how vibrant the colors are, it's going to be this red-breasted sunfish. Now there's many other types of sunfish that I'm not going to list in this video. The long-ear sunfish, the green sunfish, the warmouth. There's many different hybrids. Sunfish are in the black bass category. Also in the black bass category are going to be largemouth, smallmouth bass, rock bass. Black crappie, I believe, is in that family. They're all related. They're all ambush predators. They're all very aggressive. Let's talk about the sunfish more and less about these other fish. So let's talk about the bluegill real quick. So we'll look at the bluegill. And like a ding-dong, when I first started, I thought the bluegill was representative of that black spot, his ear flap right there. Not at all. So what you're going to look at if you're trying to identify a bluegill, you want to look where his gills are. It's going to have that blue color. It's going to be very light. You can see that right there. I'm going to put an arrow there so you can see what you're looking at when you try to catch a bluegill. Now, how do we identify the pumpkin seed? So the pumpkin seed, you can see it looks a little bit different. It's a little bit more brightly colored. Now you can see that orange belly. It's a good indicator, but that's not the giveaway. If you look at its ear flap right there, the pumpkin seed has that little red mark. It's like a dark spot next to a red spot, arrow pointing right at it. But the pumpkin seed is one of my most favorite, one of the most colorful sunfish you'll catch, arguably. Now the red-breasted sunfish, you can see the belly's a lot more red than previously in that pumpkin seed. It also doesn't have that red mark, so really you're just looking for a super orange belly on the red-breasted sunfish. But if you guys don't have an appreciation for these sunfish, as freshwater fishing novices, these are going to be some of the first fish that you're going to catch if you've never caught fish before. Let's talk about what these fish eat. Sunfish typically eat like small things because their mouths are small. So what you're going to throw small worms. You could try throwing curly tail grubs. Another good option is that atomic tube. We've showed that before, but that's always a good option. And my go-to, you guys probably have seen this before, but the wacky rigged 2.5-inch trout worm. This one's great because you toss it out, you can see it in the water column. And then when it disappears, you see it just disappear from sight, a fish has it in its mouth. It's probably a sunfish or another fish. And that's when you set the hook. The only other thing, that size hook I'm using is a size 10 bait holder hook. Super small because these fish have small mouths. The other thing you're going to want is some little, I don't want to say pliers, but they're hemostats. They're just little things so you can deal with the small hooks in the small fish's mouth. Where are we going to find them? So the reason, as freshwater fishing novices, we're going to target these sunfish. They're easy to catch. They're willing to bite. The other thing is they're going to be close to shore, so you don't have to worry about going in a boat. So if you're on shore, fishing from the bank, you can probably catch some sunfish, a dock, whatever it be. We're going to look for these fish pretty shallow. In weedy beds, if there's a lot of grass, you can toss your lures in there. Hopefully you'll find some sunfish. You can also find them on very shallow beds in the spring. And you'll see these weird circles in the sand. Circles in the sand. No. There'll be circles in the sand. You'll be like, what are these circles from? That's what the little fish come in and make their spawning beds on. So when you see these little circles start developing, that means the sunfish are starting to stage up and get ready for spawning. And you'll see them throughout the year. But they don't go too far from these spawning beds. So that's how I'm going to find these bluegill. Not that I haven't caught them way offshore, but as a novice fishing from shore, they're pretty easy to locate. One good indicator that you've caught a sunfish, if you look at their anal spines right there, where the arrow is pointing, they always, all bluegill have 3 anal spines. So that's the best way to determine if you've caught a sunfish. Now I like to talk about preferred water temperature for fish, just because I think it's another piece of information that you might need to know as a novice. What's the temperature range for sunfish and what do they prefer? They have a pretty broad range of temperature that they are capable of withstanding. They also can survive in polluted water. So it's gross, but you can catch them in dirty, dirty water. But what's the temperature that they prefer? The temperature for sunfish of the water temp that they prefer is anywhere from 58 to 81 degrees. So you have a pretty good chance of catching sunfish throughout the fishing season. That should be encouraging for freshwater fishing novices. If you haven't caught a fish before and you're trying to get into fishing, the sunfish is the fish that you're going to target to go after. You don't need expensive gear. So let's talk about gear real quick. There's rod, reel, line, all that stuff. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but for a lot of these freshwater fish that are for novices, you don't need anything stronger than an ultralight rod. So an ultralight rod, if you want to get it out further, get a longer rod. If you're not too worried about it, you can get a shorter rod. Maybe you're worried about bumping into trees and stuff. But when I switched from say a 6-foot to a 7-foot ultralight rod, huge difference in castability. I was able to get my lure out another 5 to 8 feet further than I would with the shorter rod. But you're gonna need an ultralight rod. You're gonna need a size 1000 or a size 10 reel. For line, I can't imagine you're gonna need anything more than 6-pound fluorocarbon or mono. You really don't need braid for sunfish. They're gonna come up and attack it. A mono is gonna give you more stretch. A fluoro is gonna give you less stretch. Fluoro sinks, mono floats. So those are all factors that I focus on when I'm buying my fishing line. I usually don't fish with weight. Typically, I'm gonna want a line that sinks. So I'll probably go with 6-pound fluorocarbon on an ultralight rod, 7 feet, with a 1000 or a size 10 reel. Spinning, of course, because bait casting is not gonna work for this. All right, freshwater fishing novices, new viewers. If you found this video helpful at all, maybe you learned something about maybe 3 different types of sunfish, you go ahead and hit that like button, slap that thumb, let me know that you like this video. If you guys have questions about certain types of fish, fishing methods, gear, lures, maybe just general questions about fishing that you're having issues with, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. Let me answer your question. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, I don't know why. So if you want to get me something for Christmas, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, make that bell turn from red to gray. You'll be notified of future videos, hopefully helping you become a better fishing person? Angler? A better angler. Thanks for watching the Freshwater Fishing Novice YouTube channel. My name is Moles. It's been Freshwater Fishing Novice Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend, a happy holiday, and I'll catch you next week.